Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. This time, we're going to be looking into the shutdown of DeeMoney,
Oh, yeah.
a fintech company based in Thailand that specialized in international money transfers. And to do this, we're going to be going through some first-hand accounts and information from a Reddit discussion
Interesting.
on our Thailand. So let's dive in. DeeMoney ceased operations on November 27th,
Wow.
leaving many users in a difficult position trying to scramble for refunds.
I bet.
And, this wasn't just a quiet thing that happened.
Yeah.
There were mass layoffs and a lot of confusion.
Wow.
Really a major meltdown, which is why we're going to be covering this.
Okay, yeah.
And what's interesting is that this wasn't just like a sudden, out-of-the-blue event.
Right.
We're seeing from the Reddit discussion
Yeah.
that people were noticing issues with DeeMoney for months before the shutdown,
Okay.
which, when you think about it, brings up some questions
Right.
about transparency and accountability in the fintech sector.
Yeah.
So one user, Plush U, they mentioned noticing that their transfers had been delayed for months
Oh.
before this even happened.
Oh, wow.
So they had already switched to another service, SEB,
Sorry.
and now they're like, oh, good thing I did that.
A thing, yeah.
Another thing we're seeing in this thread is that there's a post from somebody claiming to be an insider,
Oh, really?
and they're saying that DeeMoney may have been mismanaging funds, over-relying on partners for liquidity,
Oh, wow.
and struggling with their own tech product.
Uh.
Now, obviously, we always have to be cautious with information online, but this is a pretty concerning claim,
Yeah, definitely concerning.
especially if there's any truth to it.
Yeah, I mean, mismanagement of funds.
It's not a light accusation,
No, it's not.
and it seems like other users in the thread are kind of echoing that sentiment,
Okay.
that there needs to be a deeper investigation. They want more transparency.
Yeah.
One user, Ben Alexanders, specifically said,
Right.
hey, can we get some sources for these claims by the insider?
It's a good question.
Which I think is a good point.
Yeah, for sure.
We shouldn't just blindly accept information.
Especially online.
Right, especially online.
Yeah.
And even more interesting
Yeah.
is that the moderator of the subreddit, Umpire Acrobatic 138,
Okay.
they actually confirmed that they had spoken to this insider directly.
Oh, wow.
And they pointed to DeeMoney's own website
Okay.
as sort of like partial corroboration.
Oh, interesting.
Because on DeeMoney's website,
Yeah.
it says that transfers are temporarily halted, which,
Sounds a little...
sounds a little fishy, right?
Yeah, a little suspect.
You would think if it was truly temporary,
Yeah.
they'd be a little more upfront about what's going on.
A little more transparent.
Right, and that lack of clear communication just makes this whole situation even more unsettling.
Yeah, unsettling and definitely makes people uneasy.
For sure.
Especially if they were using that as their primary service
Exactly.
for international transfers. Yeah.
And it highlights the importance of, I think, diversifying our financial tools.
Absolutely.
We talk about diversifying investments a lot.
Yeah.
But I think it applies to the platforms and services that we use for our money as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Exactly.
And it's not just about protecting yourself from a company completely going under, small changes in the fintech landscape, right?
It can have ripple effects that we might not even anticipate.
Exactly. Yeah. And, speaking of these changes in the fintech landscape, one user, Maba55, brought up an interesting point. They were wondering if Wise,
Oh, Wise.
the global money transfer service,
Yeah.
might have actually played a role in DeeMoney's struggles.
Interesting. Tell me more about that.
So Wise used to partner with DeeMoney
Okay.
for payments going to Thailand.
Right.
But this user is suggesting that Wise may have switched to just processing those payments directly,
Gotcha.
which, if that happened, could have really hurt DeeMoney's business.
I see. So a change in strategy by a bigger player
Right.
can really have a big impact on the smaller companies in the ecosystem.
For sure. And that's something that, investors and users should think about when they're evaluating fintech companies.
Right.
Because you really have to understand the whole landscape.
Yeah.
You have to understand what the potential vulnerabilities are.
Absolutely. And you know what? This whole thing with DeeMoney is a little unsettling.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how common these kinds of problems are in the fintech industry. Like, is this just a one-off thing?
Right.
Or is this a sign of a bigger problem?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to say for sure without more information and some actual investigation.
Yeah.
But, the fact that users were saying that they were having problems for months before DeeMoney shut down
Yeah.
makes me think that there could be some bigger transparency and oversight issues in the sector.
Okay, so what kind of transparency and oversight are we talking about specifically?
Well, I think one thing we could look at is some kind of standardized reporting requirements for these fintech companies.
Okay.
Something that would let users and investors compare different companies
Right.
and make more informed decisions.
Gotcha.
Like, think of it as a nutritional label, but for your finances.
Oh, that's a great analogy. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, because right now it feels like we're just in the dark
Yeah.
about how healthy these companies really are.
Yeah.
And we're trusting them with our money.
Yeah.
But how much do we really know about what they're doing?
Right. Exactly.
So I think standardized reporting would be good.
Okay.
And another thing is that we could mandate independent audits,
Oh, interesting.
especially for those companies that are handling a lot of customer funds.
Yeah.
That would just add another layer of accountability
Right.
and help to make sure that everyone is playing by the rules.
Okay, those are great ideas.
Yeah.
But it also seems like, we as users need to be doing more to protect ourselves, too.
Absolutely.
So what can we do to avoid being in a situation like the DeeMoney users are in right now?
Well, I think the most important thing is to do your research
Okay.
before you trust any company with your money.
Yeah.
Take some time to really understand them, like their background,
Right.
their track record,
Okay.
their financial standing.
Yeah.
Look for independent reviews and
Yeah.
analysis.
Mm.
Don't just get pulled in by flashy marketing or, promises of high returns.
Right.
Really scrutinize the information that's out there. Ask
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not just about choosing the platform that's the easiest to use or the most innovative.
Yeah.
It's about making choices based on, how risky the company is.
Absolutely. And, another important step is to diversify your financial tools.
Okay. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, like we said.
Don't keep all your money in one spot.
Exactly.
Spread it out a little bit.
Right. Spread it across different services and institutions to, help reduce your risk.
I see. So if one platform runs into problems,
Yeah,
you're not stuck.
exactly.
Makes sense.
Yep. And, it's also wise to be careful about chasing the newest, trendiest fintech offering.
Okay.
Sometimes sticking with the established financial institutions,
Yeah.
the ones that have a proven track record
Right.
and are subject to more regulation,
Right.
might actually be the safer bet,
Yeah.
especially if we're talking about larger sums of money.
So finding that balance between innovation and caution.
Exactly.
We need to be open to the possibilities, but also keep an eye on the potential downsides.
For sure. And I think it's important to remember that nothing is completely risk-free.
True.
So, being prepared for things to go wrong,
Right.
having backup plans in place,
Right.
that can really help if something like this DeeMoney situation were to happen again.
It's like having an emergency fund,
Exact.
but for your finances.
Yep. Just being prepared for the unexpected. Yeah.
Having a plan B.
This has been a really interesting discussion
Yep.
about this whole DeeMoney shutdown
It really has.
and what it means for the future of fintech.
For sure.
You've given us a lot to think about
I hope so.
individual responsibility and the need for more transparency and oversight in the industry.
It's a really complex landscape
Yeah.
that's constantly changing,
Okay.
and it's important for everyone to stay informed
Yeah.
and be ready to adapt.
For sure. Before we wrap up,
Yeah.
is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners
Mm-hmm.
about how to navigate the world of fintech and protect their money?
I think the main thing is that the more you know, the better.
Right.
Like, the more you understand about the companies that
Yeah.
you're trusting with your money,
Yeah.
the better decisions you'll be able to make.
Okay.
So, don't be afraid to really dig in,
Yeah.
look at the details,
Mm.
ask questions,
Right.
really understand what the risks are before you just jump in. Right? It's easy to get excited about the new technology and, it seems convenient.
Right. Exactly.
But we can't forget about, actually doing our research.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember that things are constantly changing. Like,
Yeah.
new companies are popping up all the time. Regulations are changing.
Right.
Technology is moving so fast.
Yeah.
So, what works today might not work tomorrow. So you really have to stay informed.
Right. It's not like you can just, pick something and forget about it.
No, not all.
You have to kind of keep learning and adapting.
Exactly.
And I think it's good advice to talk to people too, right? Like financial advisors, or
Oh, yeah, for sure.
read articles from reputable sources.
Absolutely.
Even online communities can be helpful.
Yeah, there are lots of resources out there that can help you make sense of everything.
Yeah. And I think one final thought for
Mm.
our listeners
Okay.
is that, don't let this DeeMoney thing make you afraid of fintech altogether.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there are a lot of really good companies out there
Oh, there are.
that are doing some really innovative things.
For sure.
And it can be a really positive thing.
Yeah.
You just have to, like you said, go in with your eyes open.
Exactly. Do your research.
Be a little skeptical.
Yeah. A healthy dose of skepticism is always good.
And, keep learning.
Keep learning, stay informed, and adapt.
That's great advice.
Thanks.
Well, this deep dive into DeeMoney's shutdown has been really eye-opening.
It has.
It's a reminder that fintech has a lot of potential.
It does.
But there are also some risks.
Absolutely.
So, it's all about managing that.
Yeah, finding that balance.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We hope you learned something.
I hope so too.
And that you feel a little bit more equipped to navigate the world of fintech.
Yeah, me too.
Until next time, stay curious.